Don't you just love it when our predictions come to light? It always does, doesn't it? When we truly listen to what our ancestors share. Now, if you recall, if you've been following me for these couple of years, you know I've always stressed for ancestral possession before the pandemic outbreak and when I released my first book.
Staggering and heartbreaking moment in Canadian history.
The Kamloops Residential School was run by the Catholic Church. It operated from 1890 until 1977. Among the First Nations children from across BC's interior who were forcibly brought here, there were rumors of deaths and burials in unmarked graves. Now, the Kamloops First Nation says they've found proof.
We do know that they've had members who shared the stories of, cousins and relations and siblings who have been missing. And, the common theme that they've all heard was that their sibling, their sister, their brother, their consultant had run away. With that find, we know that these children did not run away.
Kamloops Chief Roseanne Casimir says a search of the school property with ground-penetrating radar has revealed the presence of at least 215 bodies. From the imagery obtained, they suspect many are small children.
It was very horrifying to learn that we've found 215 remains of children, within our grounds. We were going through grief and loss here, knowing that these were children.
Who were the children? How did they die? What were their stories? All of that is unknown at this point. But the stunning news has already touched the greater Kamloops First Nation community. Many of whom gathered at a site near the school Friday to share their grief.
This is a piece of history that is a devastating injustice to our people.
Gerald Etienne was a student at the school for 5 years. He also heard the chilling rumors.
There's a story of another gravesite beside the gym over here in that parking lot. There's supposed to be there were stories of gravesites there. I don't know how many, but those kind of things were told and came to my ears.
Now they wait for confirmation, uncertain how they'll face it and how all of Canada will.
The chief is telling us they plan to have an initial report out here in a matter of just a few weeks. In the meantime, they're in the process of reaching out to the RCMP and the BC Coroner Service. Farah?
Paul Johnson in Kamloops, British Columbia. Thank you, Paul.
Now, in this next clip that you're about to see is actually my mother speaking her truth as a residential school survivor. Yes, in fact, she is still surviving as of today and getting to see how it's coming to light. Beautiful. Here she is, Marguerite Simpson.
The very first time I talked about the residential school, I said it was just like I had these skeleton keys, and I went through a door in my mind, and I would go to each door and I would open them, and this one was fear, and this one was low self-esteem, and this one was sexual abuse, and the list goes on and on and on.
I remember the loneliness, the crying, and being witness to all the abuse around me.
I feel like I've been dropped from the sky. Nobody around me, strangers around me. They don't know us, I don't know them. I don't know how to socialize. I don't even know how to love.
I went through sexual abuse. I went through physical abuse, mental, spiritual. And I'll tell you, the one thing that we suffer the most is the mental and spiritual abuse that we carry the rest of our lives.
My mother and father had 13 children, and every single one of us had gone to residential school. I longed for the smell of spruce boughs and of the smoke, wood smoke. I longed for the taste of the dried meat and the dried fish. I was hungry for all of that time for my own food. And there was such a longing in my heart, such a loneliness for my people.
This individual, this perpetrator of mine, this is what the individual first heard when he was talking to me. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry because for the last 50 years, I've hated you and I've wanted to kill you. That came from me. But that wasn't me speaking. That was that 7, 8, 9-year-old boy getting out whatever was still bothering him after 60, 65 years.
My youngest brother is named Michael Antoine. He's 12 years old. And my mom and I were together and we got a call. He's in the hospital. He was in residential school. I wasn't by that. I walked into the hospital and he was black and blue. I was never so shocked in all of my life. And then a few days later, we got a call. We're still in the city, my mother and I, and we got a call at night and they said he passed. It's about us, it's about my brother, it's about the children that never came back.
By forgiving the church, by forgiving the abusers, and not carrying all of that garbage with us wherever we go, we invest in our own healing.
People ask me, what do you expect to achieve? The answer is freedom. I am free.
Forgiveness is not for the weak. When you forgive, you grow, you heal, but most of all, you free your heart and you free yourself of anger, grief, blame, shame, guilt. Because anger is a spiritual sickness. But when you forgive, you actually live.
I'm proud to say that I opened those doors and I forgave.
Our failures fill us with deep regret. But as we know, regret and apology is not enough. The test of that regret and that apology, we know, will be our actions in the days ahead.
We are in the midst of a long and painful journey as we reflect on the cries that we did not or would not hear, and how we have behaved as a church. We travel this difficult road of repentance, reconciliation, and healing. We commit ourselves to work towards ensuring that we will never again use our power as a church to hurt others with attitudes of racial and spiritual superiority.
The Commission Chair, the eloquent Mr. Justice Sinclair, borrows a phrase that was used by the leaders of the American Civil Rights Movement. That phrase is, keep your eye on the prize. That sets a challenge for all of us, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, commissioners and citizens. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission will help define the prize. We as Canadians, as citizens, have to mobilize the eyes and help the larger Canadian population both see and act. Reconciliation in this context means coming together as a whole, with one purpose being to hear and to heal, and then a critical common purpose, which is to move forward together. And if we fail to do that, if we fail to go beyond apology and regret, if we admit the truth and ignore the reconciliation, that would be to repeat the profound offenses of the residential schools themselves. I believe that Canada, as a broad and generous country, could find the will to repair the damage of that past and build new partnerships if enough of our citizens know and if their eyes are turned to the prize.
Now that our Indigenous people are speaking our truth, and that more truth is coming to light, so it seems, our ancestral possessions are coming forward so that we can heal our ancestral lineage, to bring peace to this land, love, and to heal the disappointment that society has brought upon us.